Hi, this is Cheryl Gallant, your Conservative Member of Parliament for the vacation-loving riding of Renfrew-Nipissing-Pembroke. Why is Trudeau making international travel for Canadians difficult? Well, we know how much Trudeau admires China. China uses a social credit system to elicit desired behavior from its citizens. Ethereal points for good behavior are awarded to people, for example, who attest agreement with government policy. In a social credit scoring system, citizens are enrolled in a national database and rated with a social score based on different behaviors. Those social scores are then used to punish or reward. China has phased in its social scoring system. Praise the Chinese Communist Party, the CCP, on social media, and you'll be given a higher score. Higher scores mean benefits like priority for school admissions, free gym services, shorter wait times at hospitals, riding on better transit systems, and others. Protest against the CCP and forget to pay your utility bill, or knowingly associate with another individual who has a low score, and you might be restricted in what you do, accessing public services, for example. The other things that you might be restricted in doing are the taking of certain trains, or perhaps your children will be denied entry into certain schools. Each of China's 1.4 billion people is assigned a personal rating. The ruling party's spending heavily to roll out facial recognition systems. Human rights analysts say people in Muslim and ethnic minority areas in China have been compelled to give blood samples for a genetic database. The tracking of individual behavior in China has become easier as economic life moves online, with apps like WeChat, Alipay. It's a central node for making payments, getting loans, and organizing transport. Accounts are generally linked to mobile phone numbers, which in turn require government IDs. Those whose behavior meets government approval receive green channel benefits, like private credit scores. A person's social score can move up and down depending on behavior. People with good scores can speed up travel applications to places like Europe. They can earn reward points for pro-social behaviors, such as volunteer work, blood donations. China's social credit system ranks citizens and punishes them with throttled internet speeds or flight bans if the Communist Party deems them untrustworthy. People who violate traffic laws and charge under-the-table fees are punished. Other examples are infractions include bad driving, smoking in non-smoking zones, posting fake news. Fake news according to the government fact checkers, of course. A Chinese university denied an incoming student his spot because the student's father had a bad social credit score for failing to repay a loan. The eastern Chinese city of Jinan started enforcing a social credit system for dog owners in 2017, whereby pet owners, they get points deducted if the dog is walked without a leash or causes a public disturbance. Those who lose all their points had their dogs confiscated and had to take a test on regulations required for pet ownership. China's already started punishing people by restricting their travel, including banning them from flights altogether. It's another no-fly list. Is Canada already adopting a social credit system? Well, not exactly, but China's Orwellian social credit system that records the social and financial behavior of individuals and corporations across China is using a vast surveillance system, and it has expanded globally and is now operational at a renowned restaurant in Western Canada. In an article published in the Sunday Guardian, reporters Scott McGregor and Ina Mitchell spoke with a manager who confirmed that over 60 surveillance cameras have been installed in the restaurant at the request of the China-based corporation, allegedly as part of the social credit system in China. Reportedly, the Vancouver location has 30 tables with 2 cameras assigned to each table. When asked specifically why the parent corporation requires so many cameras to monitor staff and patrons, the answer was that the cameras were installed to punish staff who do not adhere to corporate standards and to people track. The video is sent back to China, but the reason for this is secret. February 9th, 2021, Director David Vino of Canada's Security Intelligence Service, CSIS, had this to say about the threat to Canada's national security by the government of China. Quote, "To be clear, the threat does not come from the Chinese people, but rather the government of China that's pursuing a strategy for geopolitical advantage on all fronts: economic, technical, political, and military, and using all elements of state power to carry out activities that are a direct threat to our national security and sovereignty. We must all strengthen our defenses," end quote. Despite Canada's Security Intelligence Agency warning, Canadians and elected officials were warning about the threat to Canada's national security. The Liberal insiders are still continuing to reap the profits of doing business in China. The provincial COVID QR codes and provincial vaccine passports are expiring or have expired across Canada. But so the COVID fear campaign has almost run its course. So it's back to the climate Armageddon. Last week, the International Energy Agency unveiled a 10-point action plan it hopes Western countries will implement to curtail oil demand. And these include reducing speed limits on highways by at least 10 kilometers an hour, work from home up to 3 days a week where possible, car-free Sundays in cities, make use of public transport cheaper and incentivize micro-mobility like walking and cycling, alternate private car access to roads in large cities, increase car sharing and adopt practices to reduce fuel use, promote efficient driving for freight trucks and delivery of goods, using high-speed night trains instead of planes where possible, avoid business travel where alternative options exist, more Zoom, reinforce the adoption of electric and more efficient vehicles. Of course, the logical alternative is to fast-track the plans to get the energy production projects ready to go into motion. Instead, our radicalized left-wing Green New Deal, Build Back Better socialist government may be reimagining our freedom. Live from Ottawa, this is Cheryl Gallant.